was a life-changing mistake you made? Not doing regular checkups on my brother's mental health. A few years ago my brother was an avid smoker, which was normal to us. He was seemingly happy, working a good paying job, and looked generally content for the most part. However, being at his job, he worked graveyard shift, which led to him having to stay up all night and working with what I'm sure was heavy substance abusers. I've worked the night shift and it can take a toll on you without the proper sleep, and especially if you're in bad health. Well, my brother hung out with the wrong coworkers and ended up trying dope. This in turn led to him using it a couple more times, which eventually led to an addiction. He hid this from all of us, his siblings, parents and wife, who was pregnant at the time, for about a month. We had all just assumed the night shift was getting to him until one day his wife found a pipe in his truck. Our initial reaction was anger, but amongst it all, we knew he needed to get help. One day, during an intervention, he opened up to us about having been forced onto by a family friend's son when he was younger, which my mom confirmed to be true, but chose to hide it from us. We all felt sympathy cause we loved him regardless of what he was going through or doing to himself. Sometime after that he came out as bi and was having mixed emotions about his marriage. I'm sure this was incredibly hard to deal with considering he had a child on the way and had a wife who was having her own issues regarding the situation. In the end, he and his wife decided to split up but not officially divorce. After multiple attempts of trying to quit and failing to get back on track, he finally agreed to rehab, which his job was willing to help with. He explained to us that he had a difficult time dealing with the other patients inside, not to mention all of us having our frustrations with him after realizing he wasn't trying to get better as best as we thought he could. I wrote to him, sent pics of his newborn son, sent money and hoped the best for him. He replied back with a letter that was an overall angry message. So what did I do? I wrote back the same stuff, some of which went too far, but I wanted him to wake up. One day, he exclaimed us that he couldn't take it anymore and need to leave. We had pleaded with him on separate occasions before this to see it, though, which he complied with, but one particular day just broke him. We checked him out, brought him home. By this point I was angry with him for not having completed his rehab. I didn't go home for 3 days and slept in my car and showered at the gym, cause I just could deal with seeing him. When I finally went home, I would end up making small talk with him to see how he's doing. One night we even watched Hot Fuzz, cause that was one of our favorite movies to watch together, but I noticed he wasn't the same. 1 minute, he talked to himself like he heard someone outside, the next he was laughing at the movie. I knew these were the withdrawals he was having and it scared me. Of course he relapsed again, was robbed, had no job, lost his money, a broken relationship with our brother, no wife, restricted visits from his kid, and had nowhere to go but home with us. I attempted to make no contact with him. Even when he tried, I would blow him off with single words answers. He came to me one night and explained that he was sorry and wanted to get better, but it keeps getting harder the longer he's off of it, and I explained that I love him and want nothing but the best for him. I want him to get better, but I can't talk to him till I know he's serious about getting better. We keep trying and trying, doing different things, but nothing worked. Regardless, he still made an attempt to joke with me, but I was too angry to even acknowledge any of it. Then came that day where I was at work. My mom called me screaming that I needed to come home. My gut dropped and I had my suspicions since she wouldn't tell me why. I rushed home like it mattered, knowing that it was probably too late if my gut feeling was right. My brother took his life. I didn't speak for days. I didn't eat or drink. I didn't leave my room. I might as well have ended myself at that moment. I felt guilt and resentment. I'd go broke if it meant he would have been better and alive today. He was my best friend. We used to play video games together all the time, and now when I sign in, I always see that he's offline and I know it's permanent. This has been the toughest couple years I've had emotionally and mentally. I should have put myself in his shoes and gone more out of my way to ask how he's doing and get down to his mental stability. I never thought he would have done it. Now I wear this permanent guilt for the rest of my life. I withdrew myself from society. I ghosted all my friends, have a hard time communicating with anyone now, and really could care less about losing anyone outside of my family. Date 2. My best friend thought that shoving her chest down my daughter's throat to calm her down was completely okay. I came back home this morning after spending the night at a nearby hotel. I didn't feel safe staying alone in my house, since she had a copy of the keys. Even if I have a surveillance system, I didn't want to take the risk. The first thing I did when I came back was calling an emergency locksmith, explained the situation, and they arrived and did the job swiftly. I felt so much safer knowing that she can't get in anymore. I checked the house, but I was exactly as I left it yesterday, and after checking the surveillance tapes I was sure she didn't pay me a visit. I informed my close neighbors about what happened, and they were very understanding and helpful. I then met up with a mutual friend, and she updated me on the talk she had with her. She told me that she visited her at home this morning, because she wanted to talk to her face to face since she thought I was a little bit overreacting. Well, she went. My best friend greeted her and they started chatting a little before she invited her in. So far so good, until they sat down and my best friend asked her if they could keep talking while she pumped because she needed to get her supply running. Our mutual friend played dumb, saying that it wasn't a problem, but she asked why she needed to pump if she doesn't have children. She replied back saying that she indeed has a daughter and that she was surprised that I didn't tell the mutual friend about it. She then pointed out that it was my daughter and that even if she didn't give birth to her she still considers her as her baby too, and that she needed mamas, referring to her, milk to grow healthy. She kept going saying that she had no choice but pumping because I was being sassy and inconsiderate and I wasn't letting her breastfeed our baby, but that she couldn't be inconsiderate like I was and she needed to get her supply to a sufficient level, but that she was sure that I would change my mind in no time since I'm not stupid and I know that her milk is better for our daughter. She told me that she couldn't believe what she was hearing, and that she couldn't believe that all of this was true. But what it shocked her the most was the fact that she was indeed lactating. She wasn't producing much, but she was indeed pumping milk. She tried to talk to her, but it wasn't no use. She just wasn't listening, and after a while trying, she just said that there was nothing wrong in what she was doing and that she was just being a good mother, and after that she asked her to leave because she needed to relax while pumping. Unfortunately, she forgot about asking for the keys of my house, but fortunately I was able to change the locks this morning. I honestly wasn't surprised hearing all of that, but still, it was very, very depressing. She was completely shocked and she couldn't understand what happened, since apart from this she seemed completely normal. I then asked her to accompany me to the police, and unfortunately there aren't no extremes yet to file for a row, not even a temporary one. According to what they told me where I live, solid proofs of harassment, stalking, etc. need to be presented, and the surveillance tapes and texts, which are the only things I have, don't show no harassment or clear evidence that she's stalking me. So the only thing I could was file a formal complaint of what happened, and did that. They told me that they will keep an eye on the situation, and they will check my neighborhood more frequently to be sure nothing happens. People who have spent time in a psych ward, what is the craziest thing you've witnessed? I've been to preteen, adolescent and the adult regular wards, as well as a different adolescent ward for violent offenders and a different adult ward for paranoid delusions. The craziest thing I saw wasn't even the patients, it was the staff. It blew my mind how little they valued human life on the inside. They were sadists too. On the preteen unit there was this kid Philip, maybe 10 years old. He refused to shower, so a group of 3 grown men hand-washed this child. On the regular adolescent unit, I saw surely more than 10 people get shot up with booty juice and ratchets strapped to their beds with the lights left on for up to a full day. I myself, at 15, was kept in a padded room with a camera and no lights for a few days, because I was shadow boxing my mattress. I was only allowed out to shower and then they had a guy watch me shower with no curtain. At a later point they prescribed me to this medicine. I told them it wasn't working and just made me way more depressed. So they tripled my dosage. I didn't want to take it, but they would restrain me if I didn't, which meant booty juice. So I took it anyway, ended up wounding my arm with a straight hair comb from the bottom of my forearm up to my shoulder. They erased that medication from my file. On the violent adolescent ward, it held people from 14 to 21, with new intakes coming from West Virginia, Tennessee all the way down to Georgia. My unit was on the top floor and held the people deemed the most violent or flight risks. It was a lot more chill though, honestly, a lot of fights, but no real punishment and relatively lax security. More like a jail than a mental institution, except for the security. Not all people had mental issues per se, mostly just gang members and people who acted the part but didn't really play it, like broke his mom's arm and now that he's on the inside wants to act like a thug to try and avoid getting bitched kind of thing. I'll have PTSD for a very long time from the first adolescent place, but I still saw some messed up stuff from staff in the second. Like this guy Charles, I don't remember what happened, but that goes to show it wasn't anything serious at all. No booty juice at this place, so he got pretty physically restrained. Picture this, 6'3", 240 pounds, 34-year-old black man squeezing the soul out of a 5'7", 130-pound 15-year-old white boy. His face was blood red because all of the vessels in his face popped. He kept screaming, "Knox, please let me go. Please, please, Knox, I'm chill. I'm chill." Then boom, he body slammed him full force into the concrete anyway, after which Charles vomited all over the floor. Another staff situation that will forever anger me is the story of Gregory Phillips. He wasn't my friend or anything, but he was a pretty cool guy, relatable even. Except he had been in jail and later psych ward since he was 12. He was at this point 17. He was about to get out when he was 18. One of the staff members told him, "You've been in so long, boy, you'll be back." Well, he never went back. He got into some allegations with the law shortly after that, which were probably true. He posted bail and took his life in his closet.